Good evening, race fans. Welcome to episode number 8 of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. Presented to you by motorsportsnutrition.com, horsepower360.com. Also brought to us weekly by Penyan Electronics, Creekset Entertainment, and Race Chaser Online, Speed 77 Radio. I'm the host of Turn 5, Steve Ovens, coming to you from Billings, Montana. And alongside with me, I've got Clint Miller, Brad Ovens running the switches for us. He'll be the master of sound. Clint, how you guys doing tonight?
Good. How you doing tonight, Steven?
Man, we're doing awesome. We're taking the show on the road here.
Yeah, you've had a long day today.
I have had I've had myself a day. I've been in 4 states today. We started out in Elmira, New York this morning, and made our way over to Detroit, Michigan. Had about enough time to relieve myself in Detroit and jump aboard another plane to get over to Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, and then sat there for a couple hours and then made our way over here to Billings, Montana. So it's been an interesting day, that's for sure.
Go ahead.
I have to ask, did you run into anybody in St. Paul, Minnesota?
I did happen to run into the Minnesota Miracle Man while I was here. Gordon Bombay and the District 5 Ducks were getting ready to board a plane. They were getting ready to head out for this year's Olympics, so that was exciting.
Gordon Bombay.
Yes, Gordon Bombay.
Yeah, that was fun. You know, when you're traveling alone and you're sitting in a TGI Fridays for 2 hours, you got to find something to keep yourself busy. So I was sending out some funny messages today.
Yes, you were.
But you know, it's the cool thing about doing this show is the technology that we've got available to us. You know, so that, you know, when my obligations for work take me away, or if you guys aren't available for one night, you know, we can tap in from anywhere. So it's really, really a neat deal. And I want to send a shout out to Penyan Electronics for hooking us up with something to help boost the cell service here at the Casa De Porkchop Studios, and making sure that all our driver calls come in crystal clear. And we're looking forward to talking to some drivers tonight. We got a big show, Clint.
We do. We got 2013 Black Rock Speedway Street Stock Champion Jeremy Potrzebowski with us tonight. Dale Welty, renowned small block sportsman. He drove BRP late model. You know, the story goes of the 25-year-old chassis, the 123 that he ran in the super stocks with back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I
believe I had a go-kart that was painted identical to that 123.
Yes, you did.
He was my hero growing up.
Oh my God, we're gonna have to pull some pictures out and get them scanned into the computer, because I think, Brad, of all the cars or go-karts that you drove, that was probably my favorite paint scheme that you ever ran.
Absolutely. I mean, I love the number 3 Goodwrench kart, but that pink and black 1, 2, 3, or 3 as I ran
with the blue outline.
Oh yeah.
And Clint, the only thing he was missing on the go-kart that would have made it look exactly alike was we weren't sponsored by Big M.
So, but yeah, we've got a great lineup tonight. Along with the drivers, we've got Matt Thomas from Thomas Video is going to talk to us about the annual Smash and Crash video, which has just come out. And if nobody's ever seen, or you haven't seen the Smash and Crash video, it is probably one of the best things that I think I've ever laid my eyes on as far as racing videos go. You get to see everything that you want to see at the racetrack without having to go to the racetrack.
Yeah, it's and they're also celebrating their 25th anniversary, which is really a neat deal. And Matt Thomas is going to tell us all about that. And I'm looking forward to that too, because, you know, this time of year when you get to the Parts Peddler show, that's typically when the new Crash video comes out. and those guys should do a super job with that.
And it is, I've helped Mel work on that video before, and you think it's a tough. I mean, it's a challenge to go track to track weekly, and you and I used to do it the Friday, Saturday, Sunday schedule with Mel. It's tough going through there, but man, I tell you what, you get back to the shop after the racing's done, and you've got to go through every single DVD and mark down all the times and which DVD all the crashes are on, and record the crashes. And there's a lot of work that goes into it, and then you've got the post production that Matt and Mel do with it, and it's a big production, but the quality of it is just top notch.
I tell you guys,
it is for sure.
I tell you, I want to go over and go through their mess that they have of videotapes. A couple years ago, I bought my dad's last feature win from 1990. I was able to talk to Mel, and he scrounged it up. The only one that he couldn't find that I really wanted is 1986. There was 11 different Sportsman winners in the first 11 races at Dundee Speedway, and I wanted that one too, but we couldn't find it. So I would love to go over there and just to look at the inventory.
It would literally take you years to go through it all. I promise you that.
And, it's actually, Clint, it's funny you mention that, because here about a year or so ago, I went back through, and I think I had 4 wins at Black Rock when I ran the 4-cylinder and the Bandit car. And I wanted to go back and get a copy of each race that I won. And it was as simple as sending an email to Matt Thomas and saying, Matt, these are the dates I need, and, if you give me the whole event, that's fine. Or if you can clip it down to just my race, that's cool too. And they produced it. They came right out with it. It was absolutely incredible. So
yeah, maybe
we're looking forward to talking to him.
Yeah, maybe this time I should email Matt, and because I know Mel's busy, and I know Matt's busy too, but.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, they certainly can go through the archives. I mean, for years they've had office spaces that were pretty well full with tapes and now DVDs and little mini DV tapes and all that stuff. But while we talk about video, the other guy that we're going to talk to tonight is Chris Marquart from Smashed Empire Films and the Derby Inc. magazine, as well as the Crash Course podcast. He's going to tell us about the products that he offers on the Demo Derby side of things. So if you're listening tonight and you're interested in the Demo Derbies and all that stuff, Chris is going to be your man, especially if you're a fan of Yates County. I think for the last 2 or 3 years, Chris has done the videos up there, and he just does a superb job. So he's going to tell us about that.
That's correct.
And the reason that we wanted to bring those guys on tonight was we wanted to give you guys some stocking stuffer ideas or some things that you can still get just in time for Christmas. So that'll be fun to talk to those guys and let them feature their products. So, Clint, we don't have any results to report tonight.
Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Chirp, chirp, chirp. There we go. So we're gonna obviously forego the results, and I think we'll throw it off to break. And when we come back, we're gonna get the driver formerly of the 1-2-3, and sometimes still the 1-2-3 at Black Rock Speedway, Dale Welty. So when we come back, we're gonna get Dale on the line.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They have the most up-to-date karaoke to make your bar or party a great event. They also have the wedding DJs that will make your wedding reception one that the family will remember forever. Contact them online at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700.
Kick off your holiday shopping now at Radio Shack. You'll find low prices on the latest smartphones, tablets, e-readers, plus a huge selection of must-have accessories. Radio Shack also has big savings on RC toys, batteries, plus stocking stuffers like flash drives and memory cards. And don't miss the great deals on portable Bluetooth speakers, top-name headphones, fitness gear, and more. So get a jump on your holiday shopping and start saving today at Radio Shack at 103 Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn Yan.
Hey Brad, where do you go for your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage?
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online.
And welcome back to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. My name is Brad Ovens. I'm the producer for the show. Alongside here, Clint Miller. We got Stephen Ovens out in Billings, Montana, connecting via FaceTime with us tonight. Right now, we've got Dale Welty on the line. And so, Clint, go ahead and take it over. Welcome, Mr. Welty, to the show.
Hey, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you calling me.
No problem, Dale. No problem, Dale. Well, you know, you and I were talking a little bit there when we were trying to figure out how to get Steve on the show. But let's just go into. We know you've been at this a long time. Tell us, you know, how'd you get started? What made you get into the racing deal?
Yeah, I was pretty much born into it. I was born into a racing family. My dad raced in the 50s and 60s, Chemung Speedrome and Dundee and Addison and Towanda and a lot of them older tracks, Southport, Myra, places like that. And I was in my whole family was involved in it. My uncle, my cousin actually worked with Jim King and was a partner. His name is Jim King. He worked with Dave Kneisel.
Oh, okay.
Clark Summit, and was a partner of his for a while. And so, my mom even raced. She was a powder puff champion at Chemung Speedrome when it used to be a regular series. And I was born, my dad had to leave Dundee Speedway for me to be delivered, and I was at the race the next week. So I went to my first race when I was 7, 8 days old.
Yeah, well, I think that's how a lot of us got that way. I know I was about 2 weeks when my mom took me to the track. So
it always amazes me the people that get into it kind of cold turkey, that trying to go to the race and say, "Gee, that looks like fun. I'll get into that," and they actually get involved. I'm always blown away by that because they probably have no idea what they're really getting into, how deep, how committed you end up being, and how much it gets into your blood.
You're
being born into it, we kind of take it for granted, but there's a lot of people that we meet them all the time that just start racing and it blows me away. It seems quite an undertaking to me, but I think a lot of times they don't realize how big of an endeavor it'll end up being.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. It's interesting to say the least. Well, I guess one of the first questions we'll get to is probably a question you've heard a million times in the past. The old 1, 2, 3 that you won in a drawing. Tell us a little bit about that car, the drawing, and then give us a little bit of history on it.
Yeah, I had started racing, when I was 15, 16 years old, and I started out in big block modifieds. My brother was, one of the top drivers, really. And we were really low budget, and, I didn't do all that well, really. I mean, I had my fair number of top tens, and we were racing against, professional drivers, Merv Dreichler, Will Cagle, and Alan Johnson, and all them big-time, old-time guys. But, it just got to the point I had children, and I decided to step away from the racing for a while, and didn't really know if I was going to get back into it or not. Well, then we went to a car show down in Binghamton, the Race World, I think it was. And Skyline Speedway they were starting a new division, sort of a super late model looking car, but underneath it was more or less a pure stock, street stock type car. And they were selling tickets on that car, so I bought a $5 ticket on it. Didn't think anything more about it until in August when they called up and said you won the race car. So that got me back into it, and that was, I think, 88 or 89. I guess it was in 88 when I won it, maybe, and I started racing it in 89.
Okay, I
raced at Skyline for a season, and I just kept making little improvements to the car, and I think I won my first feature at Dundee in 91 with it. And then all through the 90s, it just got better and better and better. I mean, I apparently got to be a better driver. I knew that car like the back of my hand. I could make a teeny tiny adjustment to it and know exactly what it was going to do on the track.
Yeah.
And I mean, at one point one season I won 15 features. They had 19 features that season. And I won 15 of them. I think I got second in 2 of them.
Yeah, I remember those years well because I helping Dad out, and we chased you around for a number of years there, and it was just and there was I think it was 98 or 99. You and Earl Harp and Dave Meshuga, you had quite a battle there throughout the season.
Oh yeah. Dave was always a really good competitor, and Earl come along and he caught on pretty quick, and he understood chassis. His setups, I think, were a lot like my setups. We'd end up being quite tight, but we'd get off the corner good. Mm-hmm. So we were always battling to get the car to turn, but then we'd get the bike coming off. And then also Volts come along, and Breeze did, and Dave. And he was really, really good. He came on the same way, kind of. He had a car, I don't know, he must have had that car 5-6 years, kind of like I did. He just kept refining. Yep. And he was my main competitor there before I moved out of that. I still have the car. It's right in my garage. And it's halfway to being a street stock.
Well, we kind of look forward to seeing that sign sometime. Okay, let's fast forward to 2013. Yeah. Sportsman competitor, Black Rock Speedway. You run the 370 modifieds at Woodhall. Seeing you at Black Rock every Friday night, I kind of know how the Sportsman deal went. So you and I talked about it. Explain to the folks the major difference between the Sportsman and the modified when you're running from Friday to Saturday.
Yeah, primarily it's the engine. I mean, the rest of the car is pretty much the same kind of car. We actually run on the same tires, same wheels. At our track, like Woodhall, we run sail panels, which is the big body that sticks way up on the back, which does kind of help hold your car a little bit. Gives you a little aero sight, I guess you call it. But mainly it's in the engine, the crate, GM crate spec engine. It's called 602 crate. It's a 355 horsepower, pretty much sort of a modified pickup truck engine, really, when you get right down to it. It's not a super high-powered engine. Quite reliable, though. If you run them in the RPM range you're supposed to run them in, they hold up really well. You can run them 2-3 years, and they cost $3,300. Now, the 370 modified engine is more like a 625 probably horsepower, maybe a little more than that. A lot of guys probably have a lot more than that. We pretty much, I drive for Larry Kennison, Larry and Nancy from Elmira. Chuck Kennison was his father that raced for like 50, 60 years. And that car, I mean, both cars are super low budget for us. I mean, we probably spend the least of anybody anywhere. I mean, we probably spend less than most street stock guys do. Either one of them cars. But that car, when you step on the gas with a 370, aluminum heads, dome pistons, big carburetor, the cars only weigh 2,300 pounds, which is a lot less than your street car probably. I mean, That thing will jump. And when I get done hot lapping that Woodhall with the 370, I come back in, there's a big smile on my face. I go, now I know why I like to do this, because it's that much more fun than a crate. And a crate's fun. It's very challenging. You're pretty much on equal footing with everybody, but you just don't get the kick in the pants like you do driving a modified.
Sure. Now you had a give me some ups and downs for 2013. I know you struggled with the 370.
We didn't have too many ups, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I mean, the modified, we blew our engine fairly early in the season, and we are really low budget. We don't have a spare engine. Any spare parts we have are basically, things that already broke before. And we struggled. We didn't have very many sponsors. Our biggest sponsor was Gene Bomber Auto, or Gene Bomber Used Cars.
Yep.
and J. Palmer Trucking helps us out a little bit. But we didn't have the money to really put an engine back together right away. So we missed most of the middle of the season with the modified. And the crate, it ran well. It just, somehow we never quite hooked up fast enough to win a feature. I think we were second like 4 or 5 times. And, we were always competitive in the crate.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ran the Grit series that traveled around. I don't know how many people heard of it, but it was a dirt crate Sportsman series. Went from track to track, Glen Ridge, Thunder Mountain, Can-Am. We ran all those races, and we ended up 5th in Grit Series points, which was pretty good, but we really weren't very competitive. I mean, it was just pretty disappointing. It seems like when guys come to Black Rock from outside, we run with them no problem, and we run good at Woodhall. But some of them guys are just, I don't know if they're tweaking the engines or something, but they are really, really fast. I mean, we were usually, most of the tracks we ran, we were lucky to get in the top 10. The longer races, when the track gets slicker, we were in better shape. But it just didn't go as good as we would have liked to. But then again, we were going to tracks we'd never been to, so
right.
You have to set up just a little bit in a crate. It really hurts because you're not going to make it up anywhere else.
Yeah, you miss it a little bit. You've missed it a lot.
Yeah, and most of those tracks, that was our first trip ever to the track, and we did get some top 10s. So,
now you've raced all across upper Northeast. You've named off a bunch of tracks you raced on this year. What's your favorite track that you've ever raced on?
My favorite ever would have been the old Maple Grove Waterloo track.
Okay.
The Waterloo Fairgrounds.
All right.
That place was just phenomenal. I mean, it was scary, I guess. I mean, I was probably, when I raced there, I was 16, 17 years old. Scary didn't mean as much, probably, to me. And I did notice that we'd run Weed Sport and Rolling Wheels with the same guys, and they could beat me quite easily there. And then we go to Waterloo, and I would outrun them. Because I think you had to be brave to run the track. When you're like 16, you don't know any better.
All you know is brave.
Yeah, but it was flat pretty much. First turn was like a 90-degree or maybe a little longer. Then there was a short chute, and if you stayed wide on that short chute, the second turn was pretty much wide open. You held it right on the floor, and you just pitched that thing about as far around sideways as you could. You'd come down there, and you'd just clip the edge of the infield, and you'd rock it right out next to the wall on the backstretch. Then you get down to 3 and 4. It was kind of like Canandaigua was 3 and 4, really a big, long sweeper. And you could just carry a lot of momentum around the track, and it was a blast to run on. But it was pretty narrow too.
What's your favorite all-time win?
All-time win?
Yeah.
Well, in a way, it's funny. In a way, there's the Lyle Sherwood Memorial Race, which up until this season, only Van Peltz and I had won it. Because Billy Van Pelt had won it like almost all the time, and Kurt won it once, and I won it. And nobody else had won it. So that was a pretty big accomplishment. I mean, the year I won it, Alan Rudelovich and a whole bunch of those guys came in from outside with big engines and stuff, and we still won, and I felt good about that. I won the Spooktacular at Afton, which was a super stock. And that race would get 60, 70 cars from all over the place. And the year I won it, I just really dominated it big time. It was the first year I started driving for Kennison's and the Modifieds. So my super stock just sat all year. I prepped it. It was all ready to go. The engine was as fresh could be, so that probably helped. And I was just really fast in that one. But I don't know. I've won 87 features altogether. 72 of them are Black Rock. And I was a track champ at Redline Speedway in 2003 in the Modifieds. And we say I was track champ at Ace High Speedway, all Dunhill, in 2004, because they ran 3 races and they won all of them, and then they closed down. And I won some late model races with Steve Kent, but probably, I don't know, another race that was really big was at Red Line. It was for the championship, and I was racing against Hearts, and it was come down to 1 point on the last night, and we started heads up, and we had to start 3 times because we were both trying to get an advantage, I guess, and it was just a pressure-packed thing. You had to run good, and I ran well the whole way and won the race, and he finished third, so I won the championship. And at one point, a lap car come up and hit me with about 3 laps to go. And I was cranked as far around sideways as you go in the corner, and it was one of those deals where you really spun out, but you don't really come to a complete stop. Yep. I slowed right down to about 5 miles an hour, and then it came out of the spin. And if I'd spun there, I would have lost the championship. So that one was big. And then the year I won the late model championship at Black Rock, the engine was blowing up. It smoked in the heat. Went out, and I had to finish, I think, within 2 positions of Dave Du Bois. Mm-hmm. And I was running there, but the red light came on. I had no oil pressure. Anybody that's ever raced knows when you have no oil pressure, the engine usually lasts like 1 straightaway maybe. And the thing kept running, and he told me he wanted to win the championship, so I kept running it. Well, the caution come out, and the oil pressure came back for a little while, and it just kept going. It got weaker and weaker. It was vibrating and everything else. And on the last lap of that one, I had to keep pitching the car harder and harder because I didn't have enough power to keep it sideways. And I pitched it so hard on the last lap, I almost spun out. And Dick Karlowski was behind me, and he'd been getting underneath me over and over. And I thought, if I lose that spot, I'll lose the championship. Well, not usually like Dick, but when I come around sideways, he checked up. And the guy he was racing with hit him, and that slowed both of them down. I was able to limp around to the checkered flag and won the championship by like 2 points. So that was an exciting race that I always remember.
That does sound exciting, Dale.
Okay, and we've got a question coming in from Montana from Steven, and he's asking, you've been racing for a long time, a number of years now, and he's wanting to know if you're still if it's still the same fun that it was back when you first started, if you're still enjoying it as much as you did in the past.
Yeah, I really do. I still enjoy it just as much. It's not as much fun when it just seems like you can't put it together well enough to win the race, but we're competitive enough. I don't really feel like I'm, lost a whole lot. I can't say maybe I'm as sharp as I was when I was like 22 years old or 23 years old, but I really did my best when I was in my mid-40s. And, I'm in my early 50s now. And, I don't know. I think when people drop off and don't do as well, I think it's more of a desire thing in this sport. Mm-hmm. And I think I still have the desire. I want to race. I would race every day if I could.
Absolutely.
And the thing about it is, I remember somebody telling someone one time that he told his wife, well, he'd quit when he reached the same number as his car. And I said, well, that sounds like a pretty good deal. That's why we're 1, 2, 3. and the modified's 9X, so I can multiply that by anything. 9 times 9 is 81.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to keep going. I mean, if it gets to the point where I don't think I'm handling things, I can't handle the speed or whatever, I might drop down a class or 2. But I can't envision not racing at this point. I just enjoy it that much. I enjoy the people. I enjoy race cars. I mean, I don't care if it's the worst rattle trap piece of nothing 4-cylinder. I go and look at it, and I enjoy looking the way people put cars together and things they do. So it's fun for me.
All right,
absolutely. Dale. Okay, so any plans thus far for 2014 yet?
Yeah, we got the modified. I'm still going to be driving for Larry Kennison's. The Kennison's out of Elmira. And the modified, we have a new teal that sat there. Well, it's sat there 2 years now that we started to put together, and we do not want to put it together so that it's a second-rate car. We want to have really good equipment on it, and it's just taken us a while to get the parts and pieces we want. We really don't have the sponsorship we should have, and that's probably what I ought to be doing, is just going after sponsors all winter. I'm not very good at that, I guess. I don't know why, but
you can sell tires. You can sell tires, but you can't sell sponsors.
That's right. Yeah, it seems to be. But anyway, that car, we kind of want to run that car more as an open show kind of car, run some ROC races and that type of thing. I mean, it's not out of the question. If we could come up with the funding, we might even go get a big block for that car. Other than that, we'll probably still be at Woodhall on Saturday nights if they continue to do the same thing. We were kind of hoping maybe Canandaigua would have went, because there was a little question of what they were going to do for a while. We were kind of hoping maybe they'd go with open small block. If they did, we would have went up there.
Okay.
And then with the crate car, that's my brother's. My brother owns that car. And we'll probably just be back at Black Rock with that on Friday nights. Okay. And we want to travel a little with that. I might have an open Sportsman engine, because my old super stock engine is pretty close to that. And I could, with just a little bit of money, I could get that together and have an engine to run open Sportsman shows, which Dundee, if they do the same thing they did last year, they had that combo with Batavia, I think it was, or Raceway 5.
Yep.
And you could run an open engine, like in 3 of those events. And I think if I ran an open engine, I should be able to stand. I mean, I second in all of them, I think, at Black Rock with a crate engine. And I think the best open engine was way back, although the one night the guy was going to win, he was way ahead, but he broke down. But I'm thinking, we might throw that open one in for those shows.
Okay.
All right, Dale. As we finish on all our interviews, we want to give you the chance to thank your family, your crew, your sponsors, and the people that are really the responsibility for getting you to the track.
Yeah, Donna, she's put up with a lot. She's been with me for about 14, 15 years, and she likes the races. She doesn't like bad weather, so she doesn't come out on bad weather nights, but she stood right there behind me. And my brother, Darryl, I can't say enough about him. He's put that car together. Originally, he was going to race it on Saturday nights, and I was going to run it on Friday nights. And then he just decided that he didn't have the desire to do it, really. So, he puts a lot of work in, and I can't always get there to help him. And, that's his deal. He just, he was my hero when I was growing up, when he was racing, and now to have him supporting me like this is just phenomenal. And, of course, Larry and Nancy Kennison with the 9X Modified, they're like family to me, too. We've been together since '03, racing together, and I knew Larry in high school. They're just like my family. And then the sponsors we do have, like I said, Gene Bomber, used cars, and of course Precision Automotive. That's for Larry's business. Down in Elmira, he repairs cars, so it's a good place to go. And we got Curtis Bush Overhead Doors, helps us out. Jay Palmer Trucking, Joe Palmer, he's as much a friend as a sponsor. He's the kind of sponsor you need. He came up with a tow vehicle for the crate car, which is the ex-Brooklyn, New York bomb squad truck.
Oh, wow.
That's what that is.
Bomb squad. We tow on an open trailer, no tire rack. We just do what we can.
Old school.
What we got, so.
All right.
There's been a lot of people through the years that have helped me out, and I appreciate it. I don't get to tell them very often, but I do appreciate it.
All right, Dale. Well, thanks a lot. We appreciate you coming on our show tonight, and we'll have it up on Facebook here next, tonight or tomorrow morning. Oh. And everybody, that's Dale Welty, sports modified competitor at Black Rock Speedway, 370 modified at Woodhall Speedway. So, Dale, thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you soon.
In on the Turn 5 hotline, and Clint, I got to tell you, that was a really fun interview. Dale's been at this game for a long time. His whole family's been at the game a long time.
Yeah, his mom was a Powder Puff champion.
Yeah, and the cool thing is I'm really happy. That's the first time on our show that the Waterloo Speedway has been brought up, and I hope it's not the last.
Yeah, I had heard bits and pieces about it. I think I heard Bob Miller talk about it a couple times. I didn't know the configuration or the layout, so listening to that was really cool.
Yeah, and to hear him, without any hesitation at all, they've got their 2014 plans in the works, ready to go, getting ready to go out and try and get himself some sponsors. I think we're going to have to hook him up with Christy from Horsepower 360.
Yeah, we got to keep him sharp on race night.
We'll get him consulting with her and get some sponsors in there, and that'd be great. But another great interview. And this is the kind of stuff that we want to bring to you guys every week, is interviews with somebody like a Dale Welty and a guy that we're getting ready to talk to next in Jeremy Potrzebowski. So we're going to toss it off to break. When we come back, we're going to talk to the 2013 Street Stock Champion from Black Rock Speedway.
Horsepower360.com. And Horsepower 360, they know how crucial branding is for your business or product to race fans locally and nationwide. Make the wrong move and damage to your brand can be irreversible. Make the right move with expert staff at Horsepower 360, and the dividends can be endless. They also develop and promote race drivers and teams like 410 Sprint Car driver and World of Outlaws driver Ryan Smith and Rob Warco Racing's number 94. Visit them online at www.horsepower360.com.
At Radio Shack, you'll find low prices on the latest smartphones, tablets, e-readers, plus a huge selection of must-have accessories. Radio Shack also has big savings on RC toys, batteries, plus stocking stuffers like flash drives and memory cards. And don't miss the great deals on portable Bluetooth speakers, top-name headphones, fitness gear, and more. So get a jump on your holiday shopping and start saving today at Radio Shack at 103 Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn
For your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage.
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online.
Racing podcast, and we're going to throw it back over to Clint, and he's going to introduce us to our next guest here. Go ahead, Clint.
Thanks, Brad. On the line with us now, we have Jeremy Potrzebowski, your 2013 Black Rock Speedway Street Stock Champion. Good evening, Jeremy. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you. Okay, well, I guess, first and foremost, congratulations on your championship this year.
Yep, thank you. Definitely was an exciting year to win the championship over there.
Yeah, to say the least. That's a question I want to get to a little bit later in the interview. Nothing serious, so don't worry. Okay, I guess we're going to start out with the name Potrzebowski. It's been synonymous in racing for I can't even remember how long. I've been going to the track for 30 years plus, and Terry was racing with my dad then. Tell me how you first got your racing bug.
Oh boy, I was cutting my teeth. Probably as far as back as I can remember, going to the racetrack and watching my father, Jim, as well as my Uncle Terry, race for probably since I was like 5, 6, and then later on, my cousin TJ. He started really excelling in the racing, and then going to all the races and watching him, and just kind of born into it, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that seems to be a common thing for 95% of the guests that we have on the show. Now,
yeah.
What was your when was your first year at Black Rock Speedway?
My first year, full complete season, I believe, was 97, and then I really didn't race again until 2006. And my first full point season was in 2006 in a 4-cylinder.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember that. You guys always had some really sharp-looking race cars.
Yeah, I was racing with Chuck Winslow and his boys CJ and Chad back then.
Yeah, that's right. You're absolutely right. Now we'll fast forward to this year. Season didn't start out very well. Had some struggles early on. How were you able to break out of your dry spell early in the season?
Well, we kind of had a dream over the winter that we were going to try to compete for the championship at Black Rock as well as doing it over at Woodhall. But doing so and only having one car and all the maintenance, you tend to, as much as we do maintenance our cars, we still tend to break stuff. So it was wearing on us. So probably the turning point in our season is when we actually decided just to compete at Black Rock.
Okay. Yeah, come to think of it, you're right. I think it was probably wasn't quite midway through the season at Woodhall when you stopped racing over there, correct?
Yeah. I believe I had 2 DNFs in a row over there when I was leading the race, and they kind of started getting a little discouraging to us over there, just making a long haul and then finding ourselves breaking every week. Yeah,
and it makes it tough, too, when you have 2 DNFs back to back, and then when you look over at the guys that are that are running up front, Brett Marlott. At the time, it was Richie Sharpstein, who was a competitor with you at Black Rock, and there a number of other street stock guys that could win on any given night. So it really puts you behind the 8 ball when you have a couple DNFs in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes you pretty much out of the game because, especially over at Woodhall, you got like you mentioned, Brett, and then even Teddy Morrison.
That's it. Yep.
And this year, you even had Tracy Dunn and Corey Costa, who are just always top 5 cars. So, I mean, if you fall out of that top 5 and back into 10th, 12th more than, once or twice, your hopes of winning the championship tend to diminish a little bit.
Yeah, you're just like you said. It doesn't take much. Now, we'll go over here to Black Rock Speedway where you competed all year long. Obviously, you won the championship. The street stocks at Black Rock, there might have been only 12, 14 on a regular night. But let me tell you, there's, when there's 7, 8, 9 guys that have a chance of winning, it definitely ups the competition.
Yeah, it's probably one of the more competitive racetracks around. I mean, tough, really tough to get a win over there. Even when you're on top of your game at Black Rock, it's a struggle to get a win. So when you do get one, you really enjoy it at that.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. You got the likes of Nate Daggett, Chuck Winslow, who you mentioned earlier, Gene Bomber, Rich Sharpstein, Dylan Cece, who you had a couple run-ins with him throughout the year, which drivers do. It happens, and it seems like once something happens a couple times, the proverbial magnet keeps you guys racing together week after week.
Yeah, that's usually what happens when you get the smaller car counts. You tend to have the guys rubbing the same people every week, and tempers gets flaring, and one guy rubs one guy the wrong way, and the next thing you know, it turns into a bigger ordeal than it really is, because 90% of the time, the drivers can work it out themselves in the pit area or the following week if they just sit down and talk about it. But I didn't really consider anything really too serious over there.
Oh, no, definitely not.
I talked to Dylan. I don't have any problems with him. We raced great all the year. I mean, we just had one bad night over there. To me, it got blown out of proportion. But
yeah,
you'll have that.
One of those heat of the moment deals, and when everybody sits back and looks at it, and you think, what are you doing? We got to go out and race with them next week. Let bygones be bygones, and keep going.
Yeah, and that stuff tends to, take the fun right out of the race, and it carries on. It's not even in our hands at some point. You get people heckling you, whatever. We just tend to move on, forget about it, and carry on to the next week and go for a win again.
There you go. Okay, so So tell me, how did it feel to be standing up on the stage Saturday night, Black Rock Speedway banquet, getting interviewed by Morgan Colgrove about your championship? How'd that feel?
It's the cap, you know what I mean? To be able to do Black Rock and win the championship over there this year, following up by winning the championship last year at Woodhull, which is two things that I really wanted to do in the street stock class. So to be able to do that and then stand on the stage and just enjoy the night and have it catered to you it was an awesome experience.
Good. Congratulations, man. That was great. Now, how do you feel the state of street stock racing is right now as we go into 2014? You are a big part of, I believe it's Greg's Auto Body coming in to sponsor the class, up in the winner's pay. And thank you for that, because I know you are a big part of that. And I know you also said that you will be coming back to defend your championship this year. How do you feel street stock racing is right now, and what maybe in your mind may you want to tweak it a little bit?
Well, the street stocks right now are I don't really know the exact word I'm looking for, but they're right there on the edge. We can go one way or we can go the other, and they used to classify the entire southern tier as a southern tier street stock, but every year it seems like the tracks down in the Binghamton area, Cortland area, they tend to be going more towards like a late model where the Black Rock MD or Woodhull cars and even some of the Canada cars seem to be staying put with their rules without getting too out of the element. So what Greg Auto Body's trying to do is put a purse up that we could compete for at Black Rock to hopefully increase the car count over there without having to go spend $3,000-$4,000 on the transmission and the drivetrain. Everybody can come back next year with the same exact cars and compete for more money than you're going to go race anywhere else.
Absolutely, and that you made a great point, like with 5 Mile Point, and the whole ROC series and Penn Can. They allowed a crate motor with a Falcon tranny. My opinion was, it was an obvious advantage. And I think you could tell that because I don't think he lost an ROC race, Dan Carpenter. So I think that Black Rock and what they're trying to do, and along with Greg's Auto Body, is, trying to keep the rules as close as you can, so that them guys can still come up here and compete. Yeah.
I mean, the Empire 100 to me, in my eyes, really showed the difference in the cars. Because John came up and competed in that race, finished second in it, without his Falcon tranny and abiding by the Black Rock Speedway rules, and he finished a strong second.
Yep, that was a great race.
He wasn't a dominant car where if he would have had that transmission, then it probably would have been the most boring 100 laps you ever watched street stocks run. But instead, it turned out to be one of the most exciting races of the year.
It really did, and when you can have 4 or 5 lead changes in the last 10 laps, and I know that I think Stebbins probably had it in the bag until he had the right front tire go flat. But, once, when he fell out of the race, man, the whole complexion changed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the longer that race goes on, even though Kurt had led most of that race, a lot of people are running on different strategies, different shocks, everything comes into play, later on in that race. So, even with Corey winning that race, put Kurt in that mix, you might even still have a different winner. So it's just an exciting race, and the rules format to me is probably about the best you're going to get.
You're right, Jeremy, and it's nice, and it's nice that for the street stock competitors to be able to compete in a 100-lap race. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's something we all look forward to every year. It's to me, I mark that date on my calendar, and if I ever get lucky enough to win one of them, this is probably going to be as exciting, if not more, than even winning a championship.
We just need some good weather for it.
Yeah. I heard there was rumors that they might push it up a few weeks next year, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see when the schedule comes out. Yeah, that would definitely be a welcome.
It would be, and of course there's a lot of rumblings about the schedule for Black Rock Speedway and if it's going to be the same as it was last year. Obviously they added the 305 sprints. So yeah, I mean everybody's kind of waiting for that to come out. Nothing was really said about it at the banquet. So looking forward to 2014. You're coming back to defend your title. What else is in your plans?
That's pretty much it. We're gonna concentrate on running Black Rock next year. If we get off to a good start, we may go some other places, on a Saturday night or something, play around. Or like you mentioned, Black Rock has an open schedule, so which is nice for me in my eyes, because I like the fact that we get some time off and we can go do some other things throughout the year too. You're not running a 20 race series all summer long, and so, yeah, I like it. But it gives us the opportunity to go do some other things. But mainly we're just going to concentrate on running a Black Rock and having all a good successful season, hopefully.
Good. All right. Well, we've come to the end of the getting close to the end of the interview. Any people, the people that get us there every Friday night for you, Saturday night when you want to play around. You want to give a shout out to your sponsor, crew, family, people that help get you there on Friday night.
Oh yeah, I definitely gotta do that. I do want to take a little time to do that. I gotta really thank my girlfriend Courtney, because we got a 2-year-old son in January who requires a lot of time and attention, and she just gives me all the time in the world out here. I mean, sometimes we put more time out in the garage than we do at our 9 to 5 jobs every week. So without her, and her patience, and it would be almost impossible to do what we do. And then you get Greg and Kim Koval. Greg's in the garage with me pretty much hour for hour, along with my cousin Randy Ballman, who, those two right there are probably the biggest part of my success this year at Black Rock. My mom, my dad does build all of our race engines, so you don't have any engine issues. So that's always nice. Eugene Parker and my little cousin E.J. Potrzebowski, who's a little wrench turner at the racetrack for us. And you get Greg's Auto Body, Rimco Plastics, Jordy Auto Sales Custody, huge help, always helping us tune the race car at the track, and even at the garage when we need them. All the guys over at Comfort Zone, Napa Auto Parts, Morrisman Racing Chassis, they built our car for us this year. It was the first time I've ever had a new car, and so it was kind of nice to win the championship, for them. Curly's Chicken House, and McCormick's Auto Sales. You can't leave out Pro Science. We also won Best Appearing Car over there, partly in part of because of his designs on the car. That's
right. I had forgotten about that, and it is a beautiful car. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, Greg is stellar, and for the money, it's great work. It's probably some of the best in the area.
All right. So there you go, folks. That's Jeremy Potrzebowski, the 2013 Black Rock Speedway Street Stock Champion. Looking forward to 2014, coming back to defend his title against, and I believe, and he believes it as well, you just heard it during the interview, that this is going to be a really stout field of street stocks when they race on Friday nights. I believe it's been doubled to 500 to win, and that's a great purse for the street stock class. And let's hope for some good things to come. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yep, thank you, guys.
Your street stock champion for 2013 over at the Black Rock Speedway, and a lot of interesting information from him. And there's a guy right there that loves to race, but is also looking for ways to help give back to the class that he loves running.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's always refreshing to have somebody in the sport that wants to do that. They're not in there, to be in it just for the racing is one thing, but to be in it for the racing and to help the sport grow, that's something completely different.
It absolutely is. And this announcement, and I don't know that it was made official yet, or it may have been, but the increased purse for the street stocks, that's going to be huge for the class. And I hope that is going to bring more cars. They've got a decent field, but, certainly always room for more there.
Yeah, I don't know how it can't help the field. I mean, there are very few classes now that run for 500 to win. I don't even think that the late model class ran for 500 to win. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But, I know the street stocks ran for 250. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. And it will be interesting to see what 2014 brings. We do know one thing for sure, and that is that Jeremy will be back to defend his title. And, we'll see what happens. He's got a lot of tough competition over there. I mean, you look at the Creekside Racing Gang with Dylan Cece and Richie and, not knowing just exactly what Jared's going to be doing for next year. I mean, it's just – and by the way, the Double Deuce Coupe, huh?
I heard that.
Yeah. So a lot of excitement over there. Nate Daggett, who we've had on the show, it's always going to be a stout field there, and we'll sit back and wait for the season to start and get over there and see some races and get more guys here on the show. And speaking of getting more guys on the show, we got to get out to Auburn, New York, and bring in our friend Matt Thomas from Thomas Racing Videos, and then we're going to cycle down the thruway and work our way to Waterloo, New York, and bring in Chris Marquart to talk about Smashed Empire Films. And coming to you guys from the Casa De Hampton here in Billings, Montana, and the Casa De Porkchop Studios in Penn Yan.
5's official home of race day and recovery supplements. Developed for racers, by racers, with over 30 years behind the wheel. MotorsportsNutrition.com has the right Advocare supplements to keep you going. On race day, turn to healthy Advocare products trusted by NASCAR, the NCAA, Olympic athletes, and 410 Sprint Car and World of Outlaws driver Ryan Smith. Visit them on the web at www.motorsportsnutrition.com or call Christy at 330-431-9714 and tell them Steve and Clint sent you.
Official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They have the most up-to-date karaoke to make your bar or party a great event. They also have the wedding DJs that will make your wedding reception one that the family will remember forever. Contact them online at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700. For your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage.
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online.
This is the host, Steve Ovens, coming to you from Casa De Hampton here in Billings, Montana. We got Clint and Brad running the show in the studio, Casa De Porkchop Studios out in Penn Yan. We're going to head over to the Turn 5 hotline and bring in one of the owners, anyway, of Thomas Video Productions, Matt Thomas, getting ready to celebrate year number 25 of the Smash and Crash video. How you doing tonight, Matt?
I'm not doing too bad. It sounds like you're pretty far away, but it's a little colder here. I don't know how the weather is up that way.
Well, it was negative 35 the other day, but today it warmed up. We had a heat wave, and it's about 14 degrees. Tell us about year number 25 for Smash and Crash.
Yeah, you know, when I first saw the 25th anniversary coming up on that, it made me feel pretty old because I knew when I started this, you know, it was quite a while ago, but to just see it come to fruition after, you know, 25 years, it's still going strong and people still love it every year. You know, we always debut it at the Parts Peddler show in Syracuse at the end of November, and you know, we got it there a little bit later this year because we had other full-time work commitments to get everything done. But it's out and ready to go for Christmas time.
How has the 25th anniversary been received so far?
Everybody, they ooh and ah every time they see it playing. We had it at the Parts Peddler, and then we had it again this past weekend at the New York State Indoor Kart Championship in Syracuse, in the same place where we showed it 2 weeks ago. But a little bit different crowd, and people sit there and watch it, and you know, you try to figure out what tracks and what drivers they are. Some people see their track and like, oh, that's our track, and it's always interesting to hear people's comments. And that's one of the things that we are working on our issue down the road here in probably April or March at the Gator Racing Show in March. We'll probably debut our box set and have some special features and an extra DVD in that one as well.
Yeah, I know that was something I was looking forward to getting some more information about because I don't think you guys have done a box set like that before.
Yeah, we had our six-pack special, but there weren't any really special features. It was basically just putting 6 volumes of the Crash tape so you could have a six-pack for, we retailed them for about $100, and you got, 6 copies of, some of the first few that were debuted, and we're working to get all of them digitally remastered from the old 3/4-inch days and the old VHS and Super VHS days over. They were eventually on mini DV and trying to get everything digitally captured on a computer and get everything up, and some other workings down the road as well.
Now, to kind of backtrack a little bit, tell us about, first, how did you guys get Thomas Video off the ground? And secondly, how did the idea for Smash and Crash come about?
Well, Thomas Video was basically, my father got that started back in the early 80s. He did a lot of the work with the original This Week on Dirt show with Jack Burgess and Joe Murata over for, back then it was the Dirt of Central New York, out in front of the office. Was one of the first ever shows that they shot out there. And Mel used to always go around the tracks and do all the shooting at the local tracks around here. And then eventually the early to mid-'80s, different jobs, and started shooting more different tracks and different races. And I remember for some of the first races I shot for Thomas Video were sitting on the upper stands at Black Rock Speedway, the old Dundee Raceway back then. That's where I cut my teeth with a camera on my shoulder, shooting the old handheld video, and eventually moved up to other tracks. And I'd like to think that we've got some of the best quality racing videos out there as far as local short track stuff around here. We were one of the first groups to go with high definition, and it makes a big difference when you're mastering DVDs as well. But that was all back in the early 80s, and then it was on to Crash tape and all the good stuff.
Yeah, and fortunately, Brad and I have been able to be a part of working with you guys in the past, and we always, when our schedule allows us to help you guys out. And it's such a different perspective from filming a race, especially when we came from the driver's seat to behind the camera. It's quite a difference in perspective.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It was, I put this together first when I was a sophomore in high school back in 1989. Was the first one we ever did, and we, back then we were shooting quite a few tracks. We were doing some TV stuff with This Week on Dirt, of course, and then and some things with 5 Mile Point, and we just started seeing the crashes, and that's what everybody wanted to see. So we ended up putting together some music videos with some wrecks, and people were like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
And, I just got the idea, let's just start clipping off our wrecks during the year, and then we'll put them to music and put the announcers in there. And, 25 years ago, that was a big hit in the middle of the summer probably that year is when we started doing it.
And, looking at the 25th anniversary this year, about how many tracks did you guys get footage from for the video?
Well, we've got, our Thomas video tracks where we locally cover, the Brewerton, Can-Am, I-88, Fulton, Oswego, Utica, Rome weekly, and then we venture to, multiple different special events around the central New York and up in Canada. We went to Brockville this year, went to Brighton Speedway, put a new one on our ticket, and went down to 5 Mile Point a few times. Mel went to Penn Can. Mel did most of the trail. I'm saying he's semi-retired now, getting all around. We did 140 plus races this year for Thomas Racing Videos, and then we've got footage from Bobco, Bob James down the Fulton or Fonda and Malta, Glen Ridge, and a couple other places down that way, and got a couple of Ransomville shows in there, I think. Some footage from Jim Mullen, and it pretty much filled it up this year. We started off, we had almost 2 hours worth of footage. I cut it back to about probably an hour and 40, 45, put the best of the best in there, so there's not a lot of really small spins, but, the ones that are there, they usually have some meaning. When a guy spins out and 10 seconds later a guy hits it, that's usually pretty comical.
Now, with the footage that you guys have on this year's edition, what were some of the gnarliest wrecks you guys got on there?
Well, the one that it's right on the cover of the DVD, which you guys will see when you see the advertisements up on the website. Down to the bottom right, there's a blue, red, white, and blue 04 four-cylinder car that was racing at Can-Am Speedway, and it was like the first heat race of the night. We ended up getting rained out that night. Thought the only thing that did get in was 2 heat races, and one of those was this spectacular wreck with I forget the guy's last name, Fred, came out of turn 4. Car got sideways and hit him right in the right rear, pitched his car sideways, and that proceeded to a NASCAR-style barrel roll up and into the fence and then pirouette to the fence. And you could see he was pretty much out of it once he started rolling, and he ended up injuring his leg and some ribs and some other injuries. And it was kind of interesting to see him the following week, and then that's the first time he'd actually seen him. We watched it up on the tower, gave him a DVD right there on the spot, and it's definitely one that he'll talk about and many people will talk about. That was probably the wildest one that I shot, but it's always nice when not nice, but it's always interesting when you go to a track and one night you can get 3 sprint car flips, and that happened at Rolling Wheels on the July 3rd Central New York Speed Weeks. Vinny Vitale fortunately went off turn 1 and flipped his car wildly into the fence, almost into the drive-in lot, and then started the 305 feature. Another guy did it about the same place and went off turn 1, and then in the ESS feature, Heaving got sideways with Jessica Zemkin down the front stretch, and Heaving came back across the track, and here comes Mike Stelter with nowhere to go, ends up getting into him and went over top, and that was pretty interesting having 3 wrecks in one night like that.
Yeah, and I remember from past years when I've filmed for you guys, being on that backstretch camera taping position over at Utica Rome and getting my own cousin, Bubby Carrick's flip coming out of turn 2 there. You just never know when something like that's going to happen. You always have to be on your guard.
Yeah, that was a bad one. I remember another bad one from back in the day at Black Rock was Harold Neeson, the old Black 51, went off turn 3 there and barrel rolled a bunch. And we always have some gnarly ones at Oswego too. And probably one of the more comical or funny ones was probably Jimmy Phelps at the Penn Can Speedway this year. So I'm not sure what exactly he was looking to do, but he got down to the inside in turn 4, and there was a pond on the inside of turn 4 at Penn Can, and he just launched it up and over a little dirt berm and front end into the a nose stand into the pond and water splashing and clear up to the front of the motor.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of pictures of that. Matter of fact, today I saw a picture of that. It said, "Fishing not recommended in race vehicles."
Yeah, and that one's also on the cover of the Smash and Crash this year. You'll see that up in the top right. That was a very interesting one, and of course you got Kevin Ward on the cover. He was one of our, I wouldn't say our stars, but he definitely had a guest appearing role a couple of times, unfortunately getting upside down in his sprint car. And we had the big giant pile up at Oswego in turn 3 and 4, and ended up with a Tim Zedrjek up on top of another super in 3 and 4. We've got multiple angles of that one, so that was some pretty interesting stuff this year, and always some good ones out there.
Well, for sure. Well, man, we appreciate you coming on and telling us about it, what goes into it, and how you guys got started with this whole deal. We look forward to seeing the box set that's coming out here toward March. And where can people find you guys? I know you guys just added a Facebook page, but where can they find out more about the Smash and Crash?
Yeah, they can always go on the web and go to www.thomasracingvideos.com. It makes it pretty easy to just type it in and go, and you'll see links to all of our past videos and our current weekly listing of videos. And once you click on like the Smash Crash and the major events we have in our online store, once you click on it, you'll be redirected to the online store. You can order it now for it's $26. So we basically are paying the shipping. Normally it retails for $30, so you're going to get charged shipping, but we're taking that $4 right off the price before you even buy it. So for $29, you can have the Smash Crash for this year and have it to your door before Christmas. And looking forward to we just got the Fulton Outlaw 200 videos done just yesterday. We finished up all the Sportsman and INCA and all those races. Those are up online to order as well. And getting into the Facebook, and we're going to have a little Facebook contest here coming up this week, and we're going to give away a free Smash and Crash tape. So make sure everybody checks out our Facebook page at facebook.com/ThomasRacingVideos.
All right, guys. Well, you definitely are going to want to do that. And remember, they've got the shipping costs built into the price of the video, so get on over there to ThomasRacingVideos.com. Pick up the 25th anniversary of Smash and Crash from 1989 to 2013. Thomas Racing Videos has been putting together Smash and Crash and doing weekly shows as well. And Matt, again, we appreciate you coming on tonight, and we're going to send all of our Turn 5 fans over there to get their stocking stuffers.
Yeah, I'm glad to be on here, and I'm looking forward to our box set. We're going to put some special features in that in the spring, and going to have the best of the best from the last 25 years, and then we're going to have some of the best from before the Crash tape was around. So that's going to be quite interesting. Looking forward to getting that out to the masses.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't know about you, Clint, but I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that is very true, Stephen. I can't wait.
All right, Matt. Thanks again, my friend.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, guys, that's Matt Thomas from Thomas Racing Videos. Again, make sure to click on over to ThomasRacingVideos.com. You can pick up the 2013 edition of the Smash and Crash tape on DVD. It's 25th anniversary, and as we get closer to March, we'll get a hold of Matt again and have him tell us about the special features and the best of the best that they're going to provide. When we come back to Turn 5, we're going to talk to our next guest, Chris Marquart from Smashed Empire Media, and you're listening to Turn 5.
To sponsor a relationship, visit www.horsepower360.com and consult with their expert staff that is trusted by 410 Sprint Car and World of Outlaws driver Ryan Smith. Horsepower360.com. Greasy Dirt Burger and race on over to motorsportsnutrition.com. They fuel race teams and drivers like 410 Sprint Car driver Ryan Smith with healthy Advocare supplements and products. Visit motorsportsnutrition.com.
Official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They have the most up-to-date karaoke to make your bar or party a great event. They also have the wedding DJs that will make your wedding reception one that the family will remember forever. Contact them online at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700.
at Radio Shack. You'll find low prices on the latest smartphones, tablets, e-readers, plus a huge selection of must-have accessories. Radio Shack also has big savings on RC toys, batteries, plus stocking stuffers like flash drives and memory cards. And don't miss the great deals on portable Bluetooth speakers, top-name headphones, fitness gear, and more. So get a jump on your holiday shopping and start saving today at Radio Shack at 103 Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn
Racing podcasts were fueled by motorsportsnutrition.com and marketed to you weekly by horsepower360.com. Want to head back to the Turn 5 hotline and bring in the head guy for Smashed Empire Films, Smashed Empire Media, Derby Inc., and the Crash Course podcast, and also the host of the 31st Lap podcast on FingerLakes1.com. Chris Marquart joins us on the hotline tonight. Chris, how are you?
Doing okay. How are you?
We're doing well. We're doing well. So tonight we're giving a couple of friends of ours who've got some great products just in time for Christmas to give a little airtime and tell us about what they do. So tell us about Smashed Empire Films.
Smashed Empire Films started in 2010, or 2011, most officially. We expanded about 20 shows that year. We go around the Northeast and we tape demolition derbies and make fully produced DVDs, and as an extension of that, we've launched Derby magazine, which is a demolition derby focused magazine that's full color, full spread, 8.5 by 11, just like you'd see with Newsweek or Sports Illustrated. And from that, we've also expanded and launched the Derby dedicated podcast on Finger Lakes One.
And in the Derby Inc. magazine, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure there's different media outlets for the parts for derbies, but I think your Derby Inc. magazine is really one of a kind.
Yeah, there's not much other stuff out there like that, and we're actually aligned with the other guy that's kind of got something similar to that going. Wade Sicking has derbyparts.com, which it sends out a catalog, quarterly-ish, something like that, and we're on the other side of it. We feature drivers, we cover events, results, driver profiles, hype pieces, for upcoming shows, things like that. And it existed. There was a magazine previous to this one before. I got a couple issues off the ground, but it fizzled out. I think the guy tried to do too much too quick, and instead we've tried to start small, focus on what we know, focus on the shows that we were at. We've got the backlog of photos and articles and stuff that we can go back and create the pages and the content, and from there it's really built quick. We launched that in August of 2013. The first issue came out at the end of September, and right now we're in 22 states.
And the response has really been pretty awesome. I know you sold out of your first issue, and you guys are taking orders for issue number 2.
Yeah, we didn't just sell out of issue 1. We sold every one of issue 1 as part of a subscription for a calendar year, which was pretty cool. And now we're building on issue number 2, and it's going to be pretty close to double the size of issue 1.
Well, that's great to hear. One thing that we knew that some of our listeners were going to be interested in was the events that took place up at the Yates County Fair this year. I know there was some pretty high intensity action going on up there, both in the car and outside the car.
Yeah, that was one of the more entertaining nights that we were at. In total this year, we saw 3 fights that required police intervention, and Yates County was the first one. That was a Saturday program when Wilkins boys went head-to-head with Josh Decker, and they ended up getting the center spread, and they traded some barbs in the magazine. They traded some barbs when they were on the show, and I don't think that feud is anywhere close to over. I was during the consolation event. One of the Wilkins had a chance at hitting Josh, and Josh ended up shoving him backwards, and another guy, Josh Steele Martin, come along and hit one of the Wilkins boys, and they all got hung together in a snarl, and from there everybody started getting out of their cars, and the action took off from there, and we got some of that on the video. You can get that on Smashed Empire Films. There's Smashed Empire TV, I guess is what you could call it. There's a whole YouTube feed with trailers and promos from Yates County, and you can see some stuff there. And you can order right on Facebook, www.facebook.com/ Smashed Empire Films, or go to derbyparts.com and look up Smashed Empire Films videos 2013.
Okay. Now, what would, in your opinion, be some of the most spectacular footage that you've got this year? What were some of the highlights of the year for you guys?
I think probably one of the biggest highlights was Dave Early. It's ironic that these two situations came about because they were both in mid-60s Lincolns. We saw Dave Early a Saturday at the Yates County Fair, and that guy had blinders on. He was out there simply to get Justin Neal Martin, and he was relentless in this pursuit of that, driving around other cars to do it. We had a roof camera on his car, and at one point he hit Justin so hard it broke the flogger top, the rain cap, off of his exhaust stacks that came up through the hood. The exhaust stack, the rain cap got caught in the exhaust, the upward draft of the exhaust. I spun around in a circle in the air 3 or 4 times before landing on the fender and then bouncing off, and when Dave put it in reverse. That was pretty cool.
Wow.
We have a great time at the Chautauqua County Fair in Dunkirk, and there's always good stuff that comes out of there. We had a couple of years ago, we had a guy had a roof camera on, and he hit a wall while he hit another competitor so hard that it fractured a concrete cinder block. Hartford Fair, we had a bunch of cars go out of the park, a couple of them were carrying roof cams. Eric Herbert got shoved out of the park by, I don't remember the guy's name, he was in a Chevy wagon, but Eric was in the process of hitting Mike Riddle in an old 98 wagon, so we actually saw one car go out of the park and then Eric follow him, which was pretty spectacular to go knock over 2 Jersey barriers with a Crown Victoria. And then probably what's going to turn out to be the hit of the year was Sean Gokenauer down in Woodstock, Virginia at the Shenandoah County Fair. He had that Lincoln, and he hit a Chrysler Imperial, 71 Imperial in the right rear corner so hard it sheared the right rear wheel clean off the axle. The tire bounced the rest of the way down the track, hit a Jersey barrier, ricocheted back, and it landed on top of the engine in front of the roof camera that Sean had on his car.
Wow. That's pretty serious.
Yeah, that's, like I said, and all that stuff, those trailers and different snippets and clips like that, those are all on the YouTube feeds with the web trailers.
Great. So do you have any the plans for 2014? Do you have any events that you've already got signed?
Yeah, we're in the process of working out a deal to head out to Kentucky in January. If that comes to pass, it'll be the earliest start. Even if that doesn't come to pass, it'll still be the earliest start of the year. We're going to be doing the Crash Course Live filming and announcing at Winter Slam in Garden City, Minnesota, February 8th. March and April are looking pretty quiet right now, but May 3rd is going to be Carrollton, Ohio. May 10th, we're going to be back in Rockingham, Virginia. And then June starts out with the Smashed Empire Nationals in Cuba, New York, formerly one of the Metal Destruction shows. And then pretty much everything in July and August, we're back at the shows that we were at last year. So we're looking at probably somewhere around 25, 27 shows next year. We're also in November, we're going to be back at Blizzard Bash, the indoor show in Topeka, Kansas. They do the Derby in a hockey rink. And that is by far and away one of the most amazing experiences that we've had in the last 5 years for sure.
Now that's pretty cool.
Now,
it was crazy.
Now, where could the fans or the people that are listening that want to get in touch with you or, go out and check you guys out, any websites or, what kind of media, where could somebody go and how could they contact you about?
Facebook.com/Smashed Empire Films, Facebook.com/Crash Course Podcast, Facebook.com/Derby Inc. Magazine. Those are the best ways. SmashedEmpire.com exists. That's got links to everything all over the place. You can also go through Wade if you want to go through Wade at derbyparts.com. He's got stuff available as well. He has a little bit of a bat phone. He can get me pretty much any time of day, anytime he wants.
Okay. And I know, obviously, we've all kind of got our hands in some kind of production at this point. Now I know you do a lot of stuff yourself, but are there any other folks out there that you want to thank that help you, or anybody that you want to throw out some names, mention? Thanks for helping put stuff together for you.
Josh Decker and Brian Tompkins, they helped me out a lot. Ben Host, they helped me out a lot on Crash Course Podcast. Finger Lakes Warren and Jim Sinacropi for sure. They're kind of the parent company for that. We've also got, the 31st Lap, which talks about racing with Mike Mallett.
Rich Post and John Balmas. But then on the Derby side of things, Wade Sickink and DerbyParts.com, Scott Wallace and Smashmasters, Steve Bucknam at SB Motorsports Announcing. Those are all guys that usually help me day of. Tommy Robinson, Brian Sipple, Chris Brogan, those are all guys that help me day of the show. But beyond that, we do pretty much all the production. We write most of the content for the magazine. We lay the content on the pages, and then we get it printed. We design the roof signs. We edit it right here at home. I'm pretty much doing just about all that stuff. So once the Derby's over with, most of those guys get to go home, and our night's just starting.
Okay. Well, Chris, we thank you for coming on, and we've enjoyed having you and getting that out there, and especially, like we were just talking with Matt Thomas in our previous segment about the smash and crash, and I hate to say it, but when people go to the racetrack, it's a lot of people want to see some good racing, but a lot of other people want to see some good smashing and some crashes and keep things exciting. And I definitely know from previous experience working with you, some of these demolition derbies are just insane what some of these people do. I surely, I'd be willing to get in a car and race around a circle or an oval, or, I'd even go to the mile and risk having, getting tangled up at the mile. But some of these guys in these demolition derbies are just, I don't want to hurt any feelings, but the only word that I can come up with would be insane. But I do appreciate you coming on, and best of luck to you guys. And maybe we'll see you around at some of the fairs and get some good footage coming out of this year.
We'll see you in Yates County for sure. 1,500 to win, July 8th.
Absolutely. Okay, Turn 5 Nation. That's Chris Marquart with Smashed Empire Films, Derby Inc. magazine. You can catch him online, like he said, Facebook. Get a hold of him if you want to check out getting a copy of the subscription of the magazine or any of the footage that he's got, the numerous DVDs. And when we come back, we'll wrap up the show with Stephen and Clint. 5. At Radio Shack, you'll find low prices on the latest smartphones, tablets, e-readers, plus a huge selection of must-have accessories. Radio Shack also has big savings on RC toys, batteries, plus stocking stuffers like flash drives and memory cards. And don't miss the great deals on portable Bluetooth speakers, top-name headphones, fitness gear, and more. So get a jump on your holiday shopping and start saving today at Radio Shack at 103 Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn
For your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage.
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online. Official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They have the most up-to-date karaoke to make your bar or party a great event. They also have the wedding DJs that will make your wedding reception one that the family will remember forever. Contact them online at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700.
Ready to put a bow on episode number 8, and Clint, another week where we've got some great local drivers. I know growing up, Dale Welty was a hero for our producer Brad. Had a go-kart painted up like him and everything, and to have these guys on the show in a venue where they might not otherwise have a chance to get on a show, it's a privilege.
Yeah, it really is. And, I can't wait until next summer when we do have some race results. But, I just want to keep talking to these guys week in and week out because they don't get a chance to do this. There's plenty of radio stations or podcasts that talk about results and they have NASCAR guys. They don't have the local guys, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, and it is going to be weird once we get into race season, because then we're going to be doing results, and I've enjoyed doing these driver interviews myself. So we'll find a creative way to get everything mixed in real well, and it's nice to have these guys trust us to bring them onto our show and let them tell their story, and so
it makes it easy too when you got good interviews to do.
Absolutely, and both of our drivers knocked it out of the park tonight with Dale Welty and Jeremy Potrzebowski. Jeremy winning the Street Stock Championship over at Black Rock, and just getting crowned on Saturday night. I know you were over there at the banquet. It was must have been good to see all the fellow racers over there. It was,
and it was. They had a good crowd on hand, and the food was okay, and it was a good time. It was a banquet.
That's good. And I know a few guys headed out to one of the locations where Creekside Entertainment was partying Saturday night, and I've seen the pictures. It looks like they had themselves a time.
Yeah, I didn't get to do that this year. I had a pup I had to take care of, so I had to forego the party. But that's okay, because then there's no incriminating pictures of me out there.
That's right. And there was the only thing remotely related to local racing was the New York State Indoor Karting Championship up at the Center of Progress building at the New York State Fairgrounds. And I did want to give a tip of the cap to our buddy Toby Fitzsimmons, who races with our friends Pete and John Palmieri. Toby was running a couple of classes up there, one being the stock light division. He ended up taking the feature win up there. And anytime you can get a win up at the indoor show is really a special occasion. That is a tough place to get around. If you've never been up there, I highly recommend going up there and checking that out. It's a real small bull ring. They put cola syrup down on the track to keep the carts glued to the surface, and it's really something else. And I know that win up there meant a lot to Toby and Peter and John and Sarah and the whole gang up there. They had an emblem on Toby's cart, remembering their friend Justin Lamb, who was lost over the summer. And I know that was a big deal for Toby to pull down the win and have Justin on his cart. So congratulations, Toby, and hopefully that brings some healing to all of our friends in the go-kart world.
Yeah, that's a good story, and obviously that's the Daytona 500 of karting here in New York. So
that it is. Also, talking about events that took place at the New York State Fairgrounds, they just aired last night the Super Dirt Week coverage from the Moody Mile on CBS Sports Network. That just came out last night. Not a bad race to call. It's always good to hear the voice of the Dirt Modifieds, Shane Andrews, on the TV call. And, again, what can you say about Billy Dunn? I mean, it was just phenomenal to see him run up through there. And honestly, coming from the media perspective, I mean, I watched most of the race, except for when I was grabbing interviews from the inside the media center. And I'll be honest, that pass he made on Billy Decker on the one restart on the outside going into turn one, I mean, that was a wow moment in that race. And to get to see that again, with the TV announcers in the background, and that was really something. That was really something special. So if you haven't seen that, get a hold of a friend that recorded it. And coming up this week...
He's in Montana.
Go ahead.
He's in Montana.
Yeah, hey, you guys are there at the studio. It's on the DVR, man. All you got to do is get in there and watch it. But, this week coming up with the CBS Sports Network coverage is the World of Outlaws STP Sprint Cars and other divisions from night one at the World of Outlaws World Finals. So that'll be Oh, they got 2 shows left, night 1 and night 2 of the World Finals. This week will be night 1, night 2 will be next week, so check your local listings for that. What else do we got coming up in the racing world, guys? I can't, I know NASCAR's got a test at Charlotte, got canceled today. They're going to run it on Wednesday, and don't know too much more than that in the racing world.
No, I have to agree. I've been kind of, watching the tweets from Brad and Joey Logano, and they kind of wanted to get testing today, but weather, was it weather that stopped them today?
Yeah, I think it was a rain out, essentially. And I don't think the weather was going to improve tomorrow because they rescheduled for Wednesday, so I don't think the weather was going to improve for them. One announcement we do want to make is coming up next week is going to be our All Sportsman show. We're going to get 3 of our local sportsman competitors on the show. Haven't confirmed all of those guests yet, but we'll certainly announce those when we get them all confirmed. And the week after that, Clint, it's going to be your big interview.
That's right. I can't wait. I'm really excited. Finally got the okay from Logan Schuhart to come on the show. He's a Pennsylvania Posse sprint car driver who is going World of Outlaw racing next year. So that'll be pretty cool. He's a young gun.
That will be awesome to hear from him. They had a really nice interview with his grandfather down at Williams Grove for the National Open coverage that was on CBS Sports Network there.
Bobby Allen, right?
Yep, that was really, really neat. They did a nice piece and talked to him for quite a few minutes there on the coverage, so that was kind of cool.
Well, he's kind of
for anybody that may not know who he is.
Yeah, he's kind of a legend, whether it be Pennsylvania Posse or World of Outlaw. If you followed sprint car racing within the last 30 years, you know the name. And he's got a grandson too, along with Logan. Jacob Allen is going out on the World of Outlaw tour as well. So they got big things coming, and if they can survive the California swing, they shouldn't have a problem.
Yeah, that's going to be a very important leg of the tour for those guys being so far away from home. But I think they've shown they've got what it takes, and I don't think they're going to have a problem at all.
No, I agree. I think they'll be okay. Just get, like you said, like I just said, you just got to get through that California swing because that's the farthest away from home without doing too much damage. Don't hurt anything. Don't lose a lot of money when you're out there because, if you lose a lot of money out there, then the rest of your tour is going to be really scraping or you're not going to do it.
Yeah, that is for sure. Well, until next time, folks, remember next week is going to be our All Sportsman show. We're going to work on getting some Sportsman modified drivers here on the program. And after that, we'll have our sit-down interviews with Logan Schuhart. For everybody here at the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, fueled by motorsportsnutrition.com, marketed weekly by horsepower360.com, and for everybody at Penyan Electronics, Creekside Entertainment, Race Chaser Online, and Speed 77 Radio. For Clint, for Brad, I am Steve Ovens saying, race fans, be sure to check it before you wreck it.